and welcome to another video. I'm out here in Milan for the Milan Inter Derby tonight. An Italian derby of the two powerhouses of Italian football, a city divided in a stadium that unites them. A derby born from the separation of AC Milan, originally formed in 1899 to create the splinter club in 1908 Internazionale Milano, better known as Inter Milan, after disagreements from league rules only allowing a limited number of foreign players to represent a team. Named the Derby della Madonnina, the Derby of the Little Madonna, after the small golden statue of the Virgin Mary on the roof of the Duomo di Milano. Unlike many others, this is widely known as a peaceful derby, as is given to a non-violent pack from the two sets of ultras following the death of a 21-year-old Inter supporter back in the 1980s. A pact that continues to hold to this day, as neither side wants to risk any repeat of such a tragedy. That is not to say the hatred between the two clubs does not remain, and passion is certainly not lacking, but an example to clubs across the club who can learn from the two Milan sides. I personally am not even totally against any hostility or some violence in derby games, as long as it is contained within the fans that are inclined that way. But I am against the use of extreme violence and weapons, as no fan, no matter who, should not return from a game of football. Anyway, towards tonight's game, Milan's form is not great going into the game in Serie A, winning only 2 of their last 5 games, with defeat last time out. Inter's form is very much impressive, winning all 5 of their previous games, including 2 in the Champions League against Dutch side Feyenoord, with tonight's game being the first leg of the Coppa Italia semi-final and Milan's only real chance of putting a dent in the hopes of Inter reaching a second historical treble win campaign, previous being the only Italian club to do so in the 2009-10 season under Jose Mourinho. I am going for a tight 1-0 win either way, probably in favour of Inter. If Inter were to manage to achieve the treble, with them and Napoli in the running for the Serie A title, and to face Germans Bayern Munich in the quarter-finals of the Champions League, if successful, Inter would play a record unprecedented 68 competitive matches this season. I didn't originally plan to come over to this game, but a friend of mine with his son had planned their trip a few months ago, and as the date approached last week, I couldn't allow myself to miss out on one of my bucket list games and stadium, the San Siro. With the pact that the two sets of fans have, I am expecting big shows of tifos and pyro displays with plenty of noise from both ends of the stadium. However, I was recently told today from a local in a sports shop not to expect as such. Something to do with the ultras and arrests in the past week, or something along those lines. I didn't quite get the full story, but if you do happen to know what he might have been suggesting to, please let me know in the comments.
Con numero 57 Marcos.
game kicked off in about 10 minutes in or so, as the game settled. I started getting the feeling that I expected a little bit too much from this derby, if I'm honest. Although the Milan fans were loud, 10 minutes in, I hadn't heard a thing from the Inter fans, and I was just thinking, this could turn out to be one of the worst derbies I've come to. That was until about 20 minutes in, and everything just came to life, out of nothing. And now we're in a derby atmosphere. I have recently learned later on, after the game, that Inter Milan fans have done this for a few games recently, that they don't sing until the 20th minute and protest a high ticket prices. Now, for what I paid for my ticket for this game was €109, and for that kind of price, I've got to agree with them. As we approached half-time, thanks to the Milan keeper, the game remained 0-0, and if I'm honest, I started thinking that this game was going to turn out to be a 0-0. However, 2 minutes into the second half, the deadlock was finally broken. It was Milan 1, Inter 0, and it was one of our own, Tammy Abraham. Inter continued to press and the Milan keeper continued to perform. Whatever happens from here, he is now my man of the match by far. Save after save after save. However, 20 minutes after the first goal, that Inter equaliser that was always coming finally arrives. But I still can't get over how many Inter fans are in the home end. I just cannot get my head around the amount of Inter fans that are there. This just wouldn't happen in English football to any degree. You might get one or two, but the amount that were there, it just wouldn't happen in English football. After the second goal, both teams had the chances, but the game remained 1-1 going into the second leg. That's to be played on the 21st of April. And if I have to pick a team to come out on top of that, I think it'll be Inter. As the stadium, I think, will be just full of Inter. I don't think you'll be seeing as many AC Milan fans in the Inter end as we have seen in that game. And I just think with the back end of the crowd, probably is a little bit better of a team at the moment. I think it'll be Inter, but for the sake of the Milan fans, I hope Milan go through so they've got something to play for this season. Otherwise, it's probably see the game over for them for this season. So, the Milan derby. What can I say? It was a bucket list derby, bucket list ground, the San Siro, ticked off. I'm over the moon, I've ticked the derby off. Was it a good derby? Nah, I don't think so. Wasn't a good derby for me, not the best anyway. It is regarded as one of the best derbies in Europe, and the atmosphere there between both sets of fans, I can see why. But obviously there's something amiss at this derby that I've been to. So I think for me it's just bad luck that I've come to the wrong one. I don't know why. Maybe it's Milan underperforming this season. Maybe it had something to do with what that lad said who was in the shop. I just don't know. But the overall rating came out at 6.6, which I think was fair. However, if I can just explain some of that, the value for money, I rated a lot less because I paid €109 for my ticket. Now, the other lad who rated his value for money quite high because he thought he was sat in a different part of the stadium as me and he found his ticket to be value for money. At the same time, I rated the away fans quite well, where he rated them low because where he was in the stadium, he says he couldn't hear them. He said they were quiet all game, which I said was, yeah, for the 20 minutes or so, but after that, they didn't stop. So, although the ratings were a little bit contrasting, I think the overall rating, as you get the end of it, 6.6, is probably pretty fair. But it's good to get more than one opinion on what somebody thought than just me. Then it gives a more overall fair reflection. But yes, I enjoyed myself, and that's what's important. I love the city. I'm really starting to like Italy, to be honest. And hands up, it's a place I never thought. It's a place I actually said I didn't ever fancy going to. I've been twice this year, and it's a place that surprises us. I really like the place, and I really do. So again, it's another place I'll probably be back to. Anyway, at the moment, I've got no games planned whatsoever. So if you've got any games that you think I can cover, derby-wise, in England, Scotland, in Europe, I'll do my utmost to get to them if you leave them in the comments. However, work and money stuff is getting in the way a little bit at the moment. I do really want to hopefully one day do this full time. That's the plan anyway. That is the plan. If I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. But if you can do us a massive favour and you've enjoyed this type of video, just hit a subscription, because as I get the subscriptions up, the more I can do. That's simply just helping the channel, and it's the one way you can help us with the channel. Don't have to. If you don't enjoy my content, don't subscribe. I wouldn't. So, I would subscribe to myself, but I wouldn't if I didn't enjoy it, is what I mean. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, one more thing. Can you remember, if you've watched my previous video when I was over in Holland at the amateur game at Catwick, I always buy a scarf everywhere I go, and at the end of that game, the club shop was shut, which I didn't realise, and I didn't get a scarf. I mentioned it in the previous video. Anyway, the club got in contact with us, and they've sent us a limited edition scarf. Honestly, I am absolutely blown away by this gesture. Even just the fact that they watched the video or whatnot, but to come and send us a limited edition scarf after I forgot it, I'm absolutely blown away by it. So if you're watching this video, I really appreciate the gesture, and other than that, I'll see you after.